No, I'm not being a jerk just for the sake of being a jerk. We all know that this YouTube channel would be much more entertaining and would have many more viewers if I did just that. I'm wanting to raise a serious question here of the ways in which celebrity culture devours and destroys democracy. To kick this off, I commented on Twitter, nobody elected Greta Thunberg. Nobody. She represents the issue only to the same extent that Angelina Jolie represents Cambodia. Less so. Now, Angelina Jolie is a carefully chosen comparison. She was spending a lot of time in Cambodia, Thailand, and Laos during the same years that I was. In many ways, she has a commitment to Cambodia, even though it's an adoptive commitment, literally and figuratively. She bought some land there, whatever. She sunk a lot of years of her life into Cambodia and things Cambodian. Still, it's deeply problematic that she has this important role in Cambodian politics, even more important in California, the Cambodian migrant community living in California zone. That is fundamentally unearned and is based on the fact that people think she has a pretty face. It's just not really a good basis for a position of political leadership or to have an influential opinion on politics when interviewed in the newspapers. But let's compare Greta Thunberg. How did Greta Thunberg become famous? Do you guys forget? She rowed across the ocean in a 1.2 million euro yacht. That's an interesting way to get famous. That's an interesting way to rise to a position of political influence and be invited to speak at United Nations forums, at major international. That's certainly an interesting qualification. Do you know what sort of person has the opportunity to to go yachting in a multi-million-dollar yacht? Do you know what sort of person gets to buy that sort of fame? An incredibly wealthy person. Now, I do not think Greta Thunberg herself has the money in the bank to pay for this opportunity, but why don't journalists Google around a little bit and find out who did? Oh, it was in fact the Rothschild family. The boat was formerly named Edmund Rothschild. It was named after the father of the financier, Benjamin de Rothschild, who paid for this boat. Now, I do not know if he paid for 100% of it or if he was just one of the major donors, but it seems that Swiss banker Benjamin Rothschild is the money behind this boat, and I don't know to what extent he is the donor behind this voyage to take a mentally disabled teenager and put her on a boat. Yeah, that's right, y'all. I said it. Mentally disabled. Asperger's syndrome, obsessive compulsive disorder, and selective mutism. All right, I've said this recently on the channel in a different context. Asperger's syndrome does not just mean you're a slightly quirky character on a California sitcom. It's a serious disability. It is a form of mental retardation. And that is who and what Greta Thunberg is. She is a mentally retarded teenager by the strict definition of mentally retarded. And you know what? She may be more intelligent than Angelina Jolie. I hate to make the comparison. I'd hate to figure out who wins in that arm wrestling match over who has a greater intellect or has more to offer the world of international politics, Greta Thunberg or Angelina Jolie. Do you want to live in a society where we are ruled by celebrities, or where supposedly elite levels of supposedly democratic and bureaucratic governance are open to people like Angelina Jolie and people like Greta Thunberg to sit at that table, to sit at the microphone, to either have real influence or at least to wield a semblance of influence on behalf of the public, on behalf of you and I? Neither Angelina Jolie nor Greta Thunberg have passed through any of the levels of public scrutiny and cross-examination that you would have to pass through to be elected as the mayor of a small town. That's a modest measure of democracy. But please think about how difficult it would be for me. Yes, I myself. If I wanted to run for mayor of a small town, the local press, the local radio station, the local newspapers would pick through every one of my YouTube videos, every one of my offensive opinions. They'd go and interview someone who knew me in high school who claims that I said some racist stuff when I was 15 years old or something. They would dig up all the dirt, everything would be cross-examined. I'd have to justify all of my promises and all of my claims. If I made promises to improve the environment when running for mayor, I'd have to do the math and prove that makes sense. There'd be a huge level of scrutiny. And you know what? That scrutiny, it is one of the fundamentally redeeming qualities of the democratic system. And then if I managed to get elected to be mayor of a small town, at least I'd be able to say, yes, I represent these people. I put myself forward as a candidate, and I was chosen to play this role, to play this job. So respect my opinion to that extent. Democracy is weak. It can be devoured by bureaucracy, it can be devoured by fascism, it can be devoured by socialism, it can be devoured by communism, and it can be devoured by celebrity headline culture and the likes of Angelina Jolie.
I mean, really, people like to disrespect my crew, but the fact is that you know my name and I don't know you.